Um, I'm Cayce Hill. I'm executive director of Veggielution. And I would like to just return all the love you just sent our way because we are such huge fans of City Lights. Joe and I are season subscribers, season ticket holders. Emily and her husband AJ have been to a number of shows and events with us. And Rosa Maria, I look forward to you joining those as well. And you may already have been to many. We haven't talked about that. But so we're huge supporters. And as we'll talk a little bit more later, we're now next door neighbors with the Sofa Pocket Park. So super exciting. That Veggielution, just super quick, we're a 6-acre community farm that's located within the beautiful and historic park, Emma Prush Farm Park in East San Jose. It's a regional city park. It's a gem. If you have not been, rush out and go as soon as you possibly can. It's an incredible asset here for our San Jose and particularly East San Jose community. We've been around for over 12 years now, working in partnership with the city. And now as part of the Si Se Puede Collective, 5 East San Jose based organizations, which is very exciting. And we center our work around environmental education, community engagement, and food sovereignty. Lots of really exciting programs. And I won't go into too much detail there, but we have a lot of information on our website. And of course, any one of us would love to follow up and tell you more. But more than anything, we are just people-centered, plant-centered. When we bring those things together with a little bit of food and fun, music often as well. It's a Veggielution recipe, if I could use lots of analogies here that are food related. That's what we love to do. Come together with new friends, with food, and of course, with a little gardening, which we're gonna, I think, learn a little bit about from Rosa Maria. But anyway, we're just very honored to be here tonight. So thank you for welcoming us into your Zoom room home. And we look forward to the questions that you may have for us afterwards.
Our pleasure. Before we go on, I want to ask each of you, what is your favorite fruit or vegetable that's in season right now? That you're just so excited that it's blah season.
I'm going to just jump in because I'm going to say strawberries, and in particular, our farm manager, Luis, strawberries are the best. So there's a plug for the farm stand too.
I put them on the spot. You can't choose just one, right, Emily?
No, it's really hard. I'm like looking at today's box of vegetables that we just got. I would say like a really ripe nectarine, where it's like it's so juicy that you like need like 7 napkins just to be able to eat it, is what I would say. Yeah.
Oh, summer fruit. How about you, Rosa Maria? Do you have a favorite right now?
Oh yeah, well, it's really hard. It's very, very hard to say one, but I go with the strawberries as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to vote for the papaya. The big Mexican papaya with lime juice.
Oh boy, that would be great too.
Yeah. I'm like glancing out the window looking at our tomato plants, which of course are nowhere near ready, but I love smelling the leaves of the tomatoes. There's that kind of spicy smell to the leaves. And I just showed my 1-year-old that. I took him out and I said, go like this with the leaves. It just the smell. Oh, I love it. So you have, as you said, you've got a food truck, you've got the farm stand, you've got all that space outside. You are an outside organization. So how has the pandemic affected you? Obviously, you continue to grow, and many people have, of course, taken up gardening during this time. So perhaps people have gravitated towards you. What's the last year plus been like at Veggielution?
Yeah, I can jump in on this one. So when the pandemic hit, right, as Cayce mentioned, a lot of our programming is focused on community engagement and bringing people together at like not as close as we can, but like really bringing as many people together as possible. So when COVID hit, that like really changed our focus. And so we are a full functioning farm, and we have a lot of produce, and we are friends with lots of farmers. So we were able to pivot into a food distribution model after COVID. So for the past year plus now, we've been running a food box program for local East San Jose families, and then as well we've grown for San Jose families who are most in need of food and connecting them to local organic produce on a weekly basis. So we're currently serving just over 3,000 families on a weekly basis by delivering farm boxes to those families. So that's been our main focus of shifting from community engagement programming to COVID response. And now we're slowly opening back up. So we're starting to host more for Saturday events at the farm. So people are coming out, still socially distanced, but we're starting to get back into the feel of community gathering at our space. And luckily we are a very large space of 6 acres. So there's plenty of room to do events spaced out from each other in an outdoor space. And again, we're also seeing the need for people to start meeting each other again and connecting, and that sense of, bonding between individuals, since we've been so separated for so long. So seeing our space now as we move into a recovery phase as a gathering space again. But also at the same time, I know we've been, we'll talk a little bit more about Sofa Pocket Park, but also answering a lot of questions from doing, people doing home gardening. We did some partnerships with other urban farms in San Jose of distributing some plants to the people who are receiving our boxes. We've also distributed some seedlings and helping individuals start gardens in their own backyard during this time as well. So still trying to do community engagement and food distribution, as well as educating around environmental education purposes. So
terrific. And Rosa Marie, I believe your title is education. You're all about the education. What are your primary responsibilities?
Well, welcome everybody into our spaces. We have a youth garden that we just had redone, and so it was one of our opportunities to give it a little bit of facelift, and families, as soon as they could come by, always having the time to have the kids with them, also trying to take advantage of learning to do composting and get the kids to be outdoors, because that was another of the needs of everybody in the community, being outdoors. And so we are developing several other projects, trying to do sustainability in the farm and being able for people to learn with us about it. Pollinator gardens, we're working on a demonstration plot with regenerative agriculture, trying to answer the questions of people about carbon farming and how to better the environment, how to be proactive on taking action for climate action. And so so there's been really an opportunity, as we all took a break in forcefully, to really look inside of our farm, shape it up. We still had a lot of people want to come out and volunteer. So engaging people, listening to what they needed, and so that we could redirect some of our efforts and then just, tailor them for their needs. Like right now, as we launch in the summer, we're concentrating in art in the garden, so that the families can really distress, and whoever wants to learn a little bit more about something, we can do it too.
That's wonderful. I love that. I meant to say too that when I asked about favorite summer fruits, produce, feel free, anybody, to type your favorites into the chat, because it's always nice to see what people are talking about. Well, as we're talking a little bit about home gardening and composting, Emily sent me a video that someone on your staff made. I'm sorry, who made it on your staff?
Actually, Maricela, who's in the Zoom right now, so
Maricela.
she is here,
Great.
who made the video. Yeah.
Hi, Maricela. Thanks so much.
Hello. Yeah, no
Hi,
problem.
welcome.
Yeah, it was a pleasure making it.
Well, I've got a video to show, and it's about reducing food waste in the community, and it talks about composting and pickling and other things that you can do. And so I'm going to go ahead and show the video, and then we can talk more in depth for those of you who are interested in learning these skills. And I've got to say, I thought of Veggielution today because I tweeted my toddler dropped all these Cheerios on the floor, and I went, no food waste, and I immediately let the dogs in so they would eat the food so they wouldn't throw it out. So you're a great influence on me. Alrighty, I'm going to spotlight myself and go ahead and show this video.
Food is an essential part of our daily lives. It's central to our survival, but also a big part of our culture. In our Veggielution, we definitely love food. For every chance we get, we make an excuse to barbecue, where everyone brings their own dish, from salads, pasta, chicken, fish, and even cakes. Food is where we connect with one another and with our community. But while food is such a big part of everyone's lives, a lot of it does get wasted. So much that it's become a social problem. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, in 2018, 11.1% of US households were food insecure at some time during that year. That's about 37.2 million Americans. This wasted food is an environmental problem as well. Food is the largest stream of material in American trash. So once wasted food reaches landfills, it produces methane, and that's a powerful greenhouse gas that essentially causes climate change. So food waste intersects two important social dilemmas: climate action and food justice. But there are ways we can reduce our food waste at home. One simple way to avoid food waste as a consumer is to buy less. Taking an inventory of the food in your home and making a grocery list before going to the store can help people avoid purchasing unnecessary foods and cut back on potential waste. An important tip to reduce food waste at home is understanding the expiration labels. When you first glance at labels like sell by or best by, a lot of us may look at the date as an indicator to throw it away by that due date. However, they all give a different meaning, and learning these differences can help reduce the amount of food waste in home and improve your food safety knowledge. Sell by is used to inform retailers when the product should be sold or removed from the shelves, while best by is the recommended date for best taste and quality. Organizing your fridge and pantry can actually help you keep track of what you have at home and help identify foods that are ready to eat. At the farm, we organize our food using a FIFO system. FIFO stands for first in, first out. And how it works is that we place newly bought food at the back of the fridge and older food at easier to reach areas to encourage people to use the older food first. This ensures freshness and reduces waste. You can also do this at home by dating and organizing food like canned food and vegetables. Pickling is one fun way you can avoid food from going to waste. For instance, if you buy too much of a particular food, preserving the food by canning or pickling can extend its shelf life. Here is an easy pickling recipe you can use for any vegetable. Here is what you'll need: a tablespoon of salt and sugar, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of rice vinegar, and about 3 carrots. So once we've collected all our ingredients, we can start making the brine, where we place the vinegar, water, salt, and sugar in a pot over high heat. We bring that to a boil where we keep stirring until the sugar and salt has completely dissolved. While you're waiting for the brine to boil, you can prepare the vegetables. You want to wash, dry, and peel your carrots. Then you can cut your carrots to your preferred shape. I cut my carrots in long strips so they can fit upright in the jar, but it's all up to your preference on how you like to cut them. You can start packing your jar with your vegetables and making sure you leave at least ½ inch of space from the rim of the jar to the top of the vegetables. You can also customize it by adding fresh herbs, spices, and garlic. I added oregano to experiment with the flavor. Lastly, you can add your brine to the jar. Seal the jar and let the jar cool to room temperature and then store in the refrigerator. Try to wait at least 48 hours before cracking them open, and then enjoy. Another preservation method is freezing your food. It's one of the easier, most convenient ways to preserve your food for later use and prevent them from spoiling. Many fresh fruits and vegetables keep well when frozen, extending their shelf life and reducing waste. Other foods may preserve well in the freezer as well, such as bread, meats, and even some prepared dishes. Another way to combat food waste is by composting. Composting is a great way to recycle organic waste at home. It allows you to divert waste from landfills and to turn your waste into something practical for your own yard. Starting your own compost system at home is simple. You'll need to choose a compost pile or bin. Compost also requires 4 basic elements: water, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. It needs a balance of all these elements to be effective. The nitrogen are commonly known as greens, which are food scraps, grass, and coffee grounds. Carbon are known as browns, which are yard clippings, newspapers, and wood chips. You need a layer of each of browns and greens. Once you have your layers, make sure to turn the pile every few weeks. I hope you enjoyed the video and use some of these same strategies at home. And I hope you come by the farms to say hi to Oreo.
Oh, I want to meet Oreo. That was great. It was really informative and interesting. Is it really that easy to start a compost bin? You make it look so easy.
I think it is. I've even started at home. So like before I even started working at the farm in January, I started my own like worm bin. And so I would think it's kind of easy to start one at home.
So what kinds of fruits and vegetables are, I mean, are they all great for compost? I mean, does everyone respond well to compost? Any of you can answer, just jump on it.
Yeah, so Rosa Maria is like the go-to person, but
What I was gonna say.
yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much can put anything that comes from a plant in a compost pile, everything, including paper, including, lint from the dryer. You can put, old shirts, everything can be pretty much composted. Yeah, and so doing it with worms sometimes it's fun because you can actually see the decay. It's There's a lot of critters that help in the decomposition, so engaging the family, it's a fun activity to do. But we're working on having a very good display of all the possible systems that you can have at home at Veggielution. So come over, and we definitely, Marisela and I are working on a workshop that we're gonna have sometime in the summer. So we will be happy to answer all of your questions.
Yeah, we have a worm bin, but I've never worked with compost. Is there a minimum size for a compost bin? I mean, it looks like just kind of any container. Maybe it depends on the size of the garden that you're actually applying the compost to.
Yeah, it depends also on the family. It's like I ended with 2 worm bins and 2, biostacks, because we really eat a lot of vegetables plus some of the garden waste. And so you can really have a very fluid system, alternating with both. I think having a good amount of worms, if you have a worm bin, it can be key. Worms are pretty voracious. They can eat half of their weight in waste every day. So if you have a pound of worms, you can process a half a pound of waste a day. So that's pretty encouraging on turning it around and bringing it to the garden again. Yeah.
If anyone has questions about composting or pickling or anything that was in the video, feel free to pipe up or type questions in. I see somebody in the chat saying, I'll attend that workshop. Yes, definitely. Oh, Anne's got a question. What do you do with the compost once it's percolating? Do you recommend having compost in a bin? And we have a dog, so would it be safe to do it without a bin? Oh, good questions.
You can do it, like there are a lot of containers that help kind of keep the pile in shape. Sometimes just something as easy as a little chicken wire, just so that things are not all over the place, especially if you're in an urban setting. You want to invite fewer guests in that are, from the walking variety. And so just keep, your decomposers there. So that would be a solution. But I think having dogs nearby, they don't really care much about it once it's cooking. It gets warm too if you're doing it right, having the right moisture and everything. So I don't, at least here at home with our cat, she just sits around just to see if probably what's going on, but she's never gotten into the pile. I don't know about dogs. I haven't had a dog in a while. Yeah, but it's pretty safe. It's pretty safe.
I was wondering that too about dogs. Anne says you've got skunks in your neighborhood. I was thinking raccoons too. Raccoons like to steal everything. We have wild turkeys. I don't know what they would do, but
they probably would come for all the bugs. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With worms, is it true you're not supposed to put citrus in? Or is it meat? I know there are a couple of things you're not supposed to put in with worms.
Well, I think most things could get decomposed, including meat. But in our neighborhoods, we don't want to put meat just because we don't want vermin. We don't want a raccoon coming and steering the pile on you. So that's why we probably just concentrate in eggshells and cardboard and so on. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's good stuff. I think Emily said to me when we talked about this before that so many people have taken up gardening during the pandemic that home composting is kind of a hot topic right now, so to speak, right? Ha 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 ha. Cayce's laughing at my terrible jokes. Great. Well, does anyone have any other questions or things we want to talk about compost or any of these topics before we move on and talk about the Sofa Pocket Park? No. Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about the Sofa Pocket Park also because it's next door to City Lights. And then I want to talk more about the food truck. And I have some fun pictures too of when you were at City Lights. So the Pocket Park, who's taking lead on that? Who wants to talk about the Pocket Park?
So we're going to do a bit of a tag team.
All right.
So I will drive the slides, and Rosa Maria is going to start the presentation, and then I will take the middle part, and Cayce will finish it off. So we have a script down for this. So
great.
Yep. All right. Okay. So Rosa Maria, whenever you're ready to go.
On mute. Well, everybody, welcome to Sofa Pocket Park. We are on First Street next door to the San Jose Museum of Quilt and Fabrics. And we're very excited about being able to, partner with San Jose Downtown Association and the dog park into bringing something from nothing to something. And we have already been at work, for probably 2 months now. And it's been very energizing. The neighbors are very interested, and we have been able to, bring on board already 30 or some volunteers that helped us, start transforming these containers that are going to be, bringing color and bringing, knowledge and opportunities to also explore art. Because with the neighbors that we have, Makla, Aika, and the Quilt Museum, we're going to be doing dyes. We're going to be doing, exploration with growing cotton maybe later on, and also trying to meet the neighbors where they are, listening to, what time they come, and learning to see what's going on. A lot of people live in apartment buildings nearby, so they're coming to enjoy the park, and so we want to have a variety of activities that can suit everybody in a family. And, from our new neighborhood, from adjacent neighborhoods, and, whoever wants to come and partake on us energizing this little piece of downtown San Jose. What you're seeing here is our design. We are working with Farmscape, a contractor, to give us an idea of how to start the process and to also help us with making it happen. So as you can see, we're trying to bring the colors. We're inspiring with the Si Se Puede collective colors. And then we are going to be growing vegetables to the one side, and then plants that complement the murals. There's going to be 8 murals that Local Color is in the process of installing next week. So if you stop by, it's going to be vibrant, it's going to be multicultural, and so we want to bring whoever wants to come to downtown to have a good time. We will have our food truck. We're going to have a new mobile farm stand, and we're going to bring some elements to give it a little whimsy and to add more pop of color, and to also show some of the design features that it's possible sometimes to bring into a garden. Our team has been growing, and so we are going to be adding people to our staff that are going to support us on growing, in direction, in widening our possibilities to do education. And we, of course, want to also bring our neighbors from East San Jose into downtown and giving them the opportunity to, like today we went to ICA. Many of our our neighbors from East San Jose have never been to those museums. And so I think it's about time that, we mingle more. And so we're looking forward to that. Continuing our, compost and education. And maybe Emily wants to talk a little bit about the economic opportunities that we are going to be pursuing.
Yeah. So like Rosa Maria said, at the site, we'll have a mobile farm stand, something that looks like the bottom one. And then we also have our food truck. So currently at Veggielution, we have our own farm stand. So this will be somewhat of a satellite location for us. And we're excited to be able to bring more local produce, in partnership with now the farmers market, which is just on Sofa Street on Fridays. But our farm stand will be open, haven't decided yet, but another night of the week, later in the evening, selling produce. And then our food truck. So part of our program we run is a food entrepreneurship training program. And one of the tools that we use in that program is our food truck. So we work with local East San Jose residents who are interested in potentially starting their own food business one day, and use the food truck as a training opportunity for them, but also an economic opportunity once they finish our program. So we'll have the food truck at the site during events, hopefully in the future for City Light events, as well to give out snacks and drinks, but utilizing that space and utilizing the development that's happening around the SoFa district, and more people coming into the downtown area to build opportunities for local East San Jose families. Yeah, and that's kind of the other aspect is educational opportunities at the farm, at the Pocket Park, but then also economic opportunities, also partnering with other local businesses in the area. Are there other small producers producing something that we could potentially sell at the farm stand, is something we're looking forward to in the future. And this is Berta, one of our amazing Eastside Grown Fellows chefs, who's helping lead potentially their own food cooperative business. So they're in the process of working on developing that business right now. They make fantastic food, and we'll be featuring some of their stuff. Cayce will talk about an event coming up in August where we'll be featuring some of their food at. So, and then just a little bit of background. So when we came to this space, it was like Rosa Maria said, it was just literally, I'm sure if you all have seen it, if you've been to City Lights, just an empty, abandoned lot. And so partnering with the Downtown Association, we have converted the lot into, it's half a dog park, which is completely built out, and then our other half, which is the garden. And so during the planning process, we really wanted to get community input in what would be developed at the park and what kind of programming would be happening. So we reached out to local organizations and local businesses to get feedback on projects and ideas and things that they would want to see happening there. So at the center of all of our work is making sure we're focusing on the community voice and what community is asking for in these spaces, because we don't want to develop something that's not in line with what the community is asking for. So this is just kind of a brief little summary of one of the community engagement events we did. And then similar, when we start thinking about youth programming and specific kind of targeting of our programming for communities who maybe don't have access to this type of space, we're focusing on the Washington Guadalupe neighborhood, which is just south of 280 and just south of our garden as our target population for families and youth that we're hoping to be bringing out to the space and developing programming around their needs for what they don't currently have access to. So we're going to be starting that project or that kind of engagement in the fall. And then so far, this is our partnership that we had with the community input. And this was about 3 months ago. We've already grown this by like twofold of different partners coming in and wanting to partner with us on this project. City Lights should be on this list now for sure. So they will be on the next round of slide deck that we put together here. But this is, an ongoing list. And for us, it's really encouraging that so many people want to see projects like this happen in an urban setting. So for us, it's, encouraging for us to continue on this work and to also support other organizations who are focused on community building and engagement in open spaces. And lastly, this is kind of a unique opportunity for us and something unique to think about in San Jose and other urban settings. For Veggielution, our farm is at a public park. So our partner there is the city of San Jose, but this space is a privately owned space. So this is something new for us that we're working with a private developer on this property. So that means we can do different and more things at this location. So this is also something we're looking forward to developing somewhat of a model as new sites open up in downtown San Jose. Could more of these parks start happening in these privately owned spaces? It's just something we're thinking about and then modeling off of. And this happens in cities all across the country. So New York City has a big kind of plethora of privately owned public spaces. San Francisco also has a pretty large list of these spaces as well. And San Jose is working up towards that. So, Cayce.
Okay. Great. So all of this amazing work that's been happening and all these partnerships that we've been building have garnered some attention, which we're very excited about from some funders to support the work. Some of our initial supporters are very early on a seed grant from Google, and then a larger 3-year planning through implementation grant from the Knight Foundation. And most recently, we've brought in a partner of ours that we've worked with on previous projects and programs, but they brought in a very generous challenge grant. And so just going to mention this now because you're going to be hearing about it more through our email network, as well as through social media. And from now through our event, which I'll tell you a little bit about in August, we're going to be looking to match this $40,000 challenge grant, which is a one-to-one grant from the Morgan Family Foundation for any new donations or donations above the amount that donors gave previously. So we're very excited about this and very grateful for the Morgan Family Foundation's support. And the next slide is going to show you what we're also so excited about, and that is the chance to share this space with all of our incredible network of funders, of donors, of neighbors, new partners on August 1st. So you may have been, hopefully, if not one day in the future, I hope you will go, but you may have been to our event on the farm each year that we throw in June, usually, called Feast. And it's the little F, big EAST, because it's East San Jose. And Feast is this incredible farm-based event where we host about 250 people. It's farm fancy, as we call it. We partner with Adega Restaurant and have music and sangria and activities in the youth garden and hay rides, and it's amazing. And well, it turns out, COVID has not allowed for that. We didn't quite make the June deadline, so we have creatively thought about how we can make Feast happen on First. So this is going to be our reimagined Feast. We're going to close down the area of South First, right there in front of the Pocket Park, and of course all of the great arts organizations like City Lights and MACLA and ICA, Quilt and Textile Museum. Everyone will be invited to come out and join, participate with us in many different ways. So as it says here, there'll of course be dinner and cocktails, and then we're hoping to do some gallery crawls. So little, peeks into to see the exhibits that are open at the different galleries. So this is we'll have a grand opening event prior to this, and the garden will be open before this event, but this is going to be our big chance to dress up and just really celebrate all of this work that as a community we've done to make this happen. So we're very excited for it, and we've sent out a save the date, but you'll be seeing more about it, as I mentioned, on social media. Would love for you all to join us. It's going to be outside, and be safely distanced. It's gonna be a lot of fun, as it always is at Veggielution, and I'm going to say as it always is at City Lights fundraisers, because we've been to those too. So I hope that you will join us there. And we are also looking for sponsorships. So if you have you or someone might be willing to sponsor the event, of course we would love to include them as sponsors. And what else can I say? And then, yeah, as Emily mentioned too, we're going to be featuring some of our Eastside Grown program graduates, in particular, a subset of those graduates who have been working very hard on forming a food worker cooperative, a worker-owned cooperative catering business. So we're going to be featuring them for part of the menu that evening, which will also be super exciting and delicious. Anyway, hope to see you there, and we really appreciate your time tonight learning about all things Veggielution, including this new Pocket Park, and happy to answer questions as well.
Thank you. I don't know if you missed it. That's the before photo from that parking lot with all the graffiti. I mean, this is just a world of difference in this little space. So it extends from South First to South Second, and City Lights is on South Second, so we're on the other side of it. I think the entrance is on South First, so right? Can you still go in from South Second, or is it closed off?
So there is access off of Second, and what we're thinking is that would probably more of like an event-based entrance, or like, let's say that we have a partnership, and like the City Lights and Veggielution are doing something together, or maybe, your team wants to, arrange while we're there to keep it open so that you can just make that quick, entrance from the back to go and have your lunch in there, on the days that we're open. But it would be kind of our secondary entrance. The primary entrance is on First Street.
Yeah.
And someone asked about the murals. I wanted to say too, Rebecca, and
that was me.
yeah. Oh, was it? Okay. City Lights. Yeah, that's you. Yes. So yeah, we have actually photos of the finalists. They are 8 incredible artists. This super beautiful range of subject, I would say, in the murals, but all very much based on textile. They're inspired by textiles and cloth. So I don't even know if I'm allowed to show them early. We've seen them, but what I can say, and Rosa Maria, Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe beginning next Friday, June 18th, if you stop by from June 18th to the 28th, they will be painting them. So it's going to be an incredible opportunity to watch those murals going up. 8 different large format murals in the different bays on the Quilt and Textile Museum wall. So you can see it in action as they're going up. It'll be very exciting.
Oh, that's fantastic. It just, it's amazing. Like, so we have shot publicity photos in there, but for West Side Story, for Green Day's American Idiot, so things that are a little bit more gritty, like, let's go shoot in that parking lot. So this is just a rebirth, and how nice to have green space in there. It's just, and things growing. That's just wonderful. Anne is nodding. Anne works at City Lights with me. And I know, sometimes you're there at work and you're thinking, well, where can I go buy just some nice produce or something? I'm like, ooh,
yeah, I have been checking in on the theater, picking up mail, what have you. And I always walk around and peek and see what's going on in the pocket park. How is Veggielution's, what's the progress like? I'm so excited. I think it's going to be so great for, Becky works remotely, but she does come down occasionally, but I can't wait till we're back and I can go just pop over and have some green space next to our theater. It's going to be awesome.
I see it. Yeah, absolutely. I see a hand up. Oh, it's you, Rosa Maria. Rosa Maria's raising her hand. Hello.
I didn't want to cut anybody, but what I wanted to say is just, you're going to start being able to come into the space starting June 21. We set our day for, soft opening June 21, and we will have a bit more formal opening on June 30th. I believe Local Color is hoping to also have like the unveiling of the murals earlier that day. So just keep watching our Facebook and so on, because there's going to be, a confirmation so that you guys can start coming by.
That's wonderful. Manuela wants to know, what kind of groups are you seeking for partnerships?
I put a couple of thoughts in the chat, but I think
there's your answer.
Well, and I was wondering, like, for sponsorships for the event, we a range of both, direct financial and in-kind support is going to be really helpful. For the programming part, I think, Rosa Maria, you're the best person to answer that, and you've already been in touch with some, but what kinds of groups? I listed, I think, school groups, corporate team building, musical and theater performances, hint, hint. But, we're hoping to, as kind of a second phase of our work, include some performance space, stage space. And so those are a few that come to mind. But Rosa Maria, do you have some other ideas of partners that we're specifically looking to work with?
Yeah, we really want to bring the talent and, and the knowledge of the community in general, from creating art, garden art, to, learning cultural, learning about the cultures in the area. So all that can be included in our programming. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Anyone else have questions about the Pocket Park? I just see lots of smiles. That's wonderful. I was wondering when the opening part, because I know the dogs are there. The dog park side is being very happily used by the canines. So June 21st, soft opening. And you said people are painting murals coming soon, or just during daylight hours, afternoon hours, people can just drop by and see what's going on.
beginning.
Yeah, I think it's
Go ahead. Mhm.
I would say on the 18th, starting, I think it's like around 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. is their current kind of painting schedule for being there. And yeah, and like they're all 8 muralists are going to be painting at the same time. It's going to be pretty fun to watch. And it's kind of nonstop for the whole week. So you'll be able to check in every day to see the progression of the murals. So and the murals they're all so different and also fantastic. So
Oh, that's great. We'll let our audiences know because I know people will appreciate seeing that. Terrific. Well, I want to ask a couple of questions about the food truck, but before I do, I want to show some photos from when you were our nonprofit partner during In the Heights, and Veggielution brought their food truck to our parking lot, and it was such fun. There's Cayce there working in the food truck, and the menu, which was amazing. And you fed some very hungry actors. Actors always want to eat, so that was good. And you just made yourselves right at home in our parking lot. It was so perfect. As I said, that Veggielution was our nonprofit partner for 2 shows, and so we donated part of our proceeds from the box office, and we do some cross promotion. And it was just such fun having you in our space because we don't, it's a very small outdoor space. It's not like we can have performances there or anything. So it was great to have the food truck right there in the parking lot. Where does the food truck go nowadays? Where can people find it, and where do the recipes come from? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah, I can I'll jump in. I mean, so for the last 15 months or so, the food truck has not been anywhere. But we're going to hopefully be at a few of the Viva parks coming up in the future. So we're partnering. Our kind of biggest event partner is the city of San Jose. So we always get invited to a lot of the city of San Jose events. So any of the events, most of the events in city parks, and then I know Viva Cayce is coming up in September, and we're always at one of those hubs for the food truck there. And then hopefully at our fundraiser in August, we'll have the food truck. But the recipes are developed with our Eastside Grown graduates who are operating the food truck. So the recipes that are meaningful to them, whether it's a family recipe or a culturally significant recipe, and we encourage them and offer to them as much produce as they want from the farm to include in the recipe. So we try to make sure the recipes use as much local produce as possible and seasonal produce. So a lot of the stuff featured in the food truck, it doesn't really have a set menu, which is what people are usually used to with a food truck. Our menu changes as the seasons change, as what we decide to grow changes, and as different community members come through the food truck changes. So as different, from different countries, from different backgrounds, a lot of those the menu is based off of individuals. So, which is super exciting. And we don't have a cookbook right now, but we have lots of recipes we need to gather and get out of people's brains to put into a cookbook for sure. Yes.
That's a challenge. That's where recipes tend to live, right? Like, oh, a pinch of this. And
Yep.
very cool. If people want to get involved with Veggielution as far as volunteering or working in the farm or something like that, can they do that? What do they do? Is the best way to just go to your website? I'm going to type the URL right here into the chat while you're talking.
Yes, we have regular volunteer Fridays and Saturdays from 10 in the morning to 2:30 for people that want to come to the farm to, work in our fields or also work in the youth garden, because we have both volunteering for youth, for under 13 in the youth garden, and then anybody else above 13 can go into any other of our spaces to work. There's also opportunity to volunteer packing boxes at the location that we have now, a warehouse on Autumn Street. And then also every Friday at the farm, we have also some packing of 250. We pack 250 boxes in the farm, but we pack about 3,000 at the Autumn warehouse. So we always will be welcoming volunteers. We have sometimes special events that you can find out on our Facebook and also on our website.
Terrific. Terrific. I typed the URL into the chat, veggielution.org. I'm saying that for those of you watching on YouTube who cannot see this Zoom chat. Sorry, but there you go. Great. Well, anybody else have other questions for our guests? Are there other things that you all would like to talk about?
I think what we're just so excited about is for us to learn, more about how to program outdoor space. We're always learning. And so being in that, beautiful, now incredible, space, surrounded by arts organizations, arts nonprofits, is really new and exciting for us. So I just want to ask, bring your wild ideas, to us. We'd love to, it's a little space, but I think it's going to be a really powerful place to be creative and showcase talent and just get to know each other. So our door is open, and we're really excited to learn from all of you who do what you do so well, who connect people in a way that's complementary to what we do. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, we had an informal chat about possibly maybe like before a pre-show, before we're going to see a play at City Lights, maybe go and have a little cocktail hour in the Pocket Park next door. There's lots of, you really are surrounded by arts organizations, as you said, MACLA, the Quilts and Textile Museum, us, San Jose Stage Company, ICA. It's a very, very creative space. It's a wonderful neighborhood in that way. Terrific. Anybody else? Anything else you'd like to say or ask, or just smile? That's fine too. It's all good. Oh, this has been so great. I sent out an e-blast to our City Lights audience this week, just talking about the Pocket Park. And I was surprised that we got a couple of responses, people saying, this is happening next door. I had no idea. I mean, we've all kind of been in our houses for so long, and that people don't know. And when City Lights reopens in the fall, how exciting to have a place where they can go and, come a little early and go check out the park. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you all for being with us tonight. We're back next week in the Zoom, and we're going to have a magician, and his name is Phil Ackerley. He's a Palo Alto magician who worked in the tech industry, and after a layoff decided to try a different type of career. So he has these sort of family-friendly magic and comedy shows. When the world is not shut down, he performs like 200 shows a year. He performs in Vegas, Atlantic City, all over the place. And he's been doing online shows. So he's coming on our show next week. So next Thursday at 8, you can see Phil Ackerley here in the Zoom. You'll get an email afterwards that has a link to all that information. And what fun to check in with Veggielution again and meet new faces. I see some people here I think have never been to City Lights, and I just thank you for joining us this evening. This has been terrific.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming.
Looking forward to seeing you at Sofa Pocket Park.
We will.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.